Alright, so in this edition of the 9/11 investigation, we're going to look at Donald Rumsfeld, in him saying, this is fact, this isn't a far-fetched conspiracy theory. I'm actually going to link a video down below. I always say this in these videos, if I forget to link them, just search them on Google or YouTube. There's a video with Donald Rumsfeld on September 10th, 2001, the day before 9/11, announces, he says, the Pentagon cannot account for 2.3 trillion, not million, not billion, trillion dollars. It doesn't know where it is. Come on, really? 2.3 trillion. They said it was like $8,000 for every man and woman in the United States. That is a big amount of money. 2.3 cannot account for 2.3 trillion dollars. And the next day, of course, 9/11 happens. You know, the story gets covered up. Nobody even cares about that anymore. It's all about 9/11. And then, shockingly, where the plane hit in the Pentagon, and I just thought of something too about 9/11. You know, that's never popped into my mind. They know the plane was going towards the Pentagon because Mineta in his testimony was saying the plane's 50 miles out, the plane's 30 miles out, the plane's 10 miles out. Why didn't they evacuate the Pentagon if they knew the plane was coming to the Pentagon when it was they knew the Pentagon, they knew the plane in Mineta's testimony. Mineta said a young man went up to Cheney and said the plane's 50 miles out, the plane's 30 miles out, the plane's 10 miles out, do the orders still stand? And Cheney said yes, the orders still stand. We do not really know the specifics of those orders, whether it was a stand down order, a shoot down order, or a different order. But so they obviously knew the plane was coming towards the Pentagon. Why didn't they evacuate the Pentagon? You know, it's just doesn't make any sense, you know. But anyway, I pulled up here the this website is defendamerica.mil. So it is a government website or whatever, .mil, military. And, you know, they got a whole list of all the people who died in the Pentagon disaster, or the tragedy, whatever you want to call it. And if you go through a lot of them are accountants, what did it say here? I know analysts, bookkeepers, I think. You know, a lot of them had to do with money. So, you know, so before the day before the event, Donald Rumsfeld says, "Oh, we can't account for $2.3 trillion dollars, my bad." And then the plane strikes the area of the Pentagon where all the accountants are, and the bookkeepers, and I don't know if it said bookkeepers, but it said budget analysts. So where all the money's being, you know, all the files are probably, that's where the plane strikes, you know. So that should bring up suspicions right there. And of course, mainstream media is pretty much dead on it. The only mainstream article I could really find was on CBS News, titled "The War on Waste." It basically, you know, goes through. It says, yeah, the Pentagon lost $2.3 million. And actually, I heard another report that it's like 25% of the money. I don't know if it says it in here or not, but like 25% of the money that the Pentagon, you know, is responsible for, they lose track of it. Like, really? Like, you really believe that they couldn't account for 2.3 trillion? Like, where is that money going? Why can't they account for it? I mean, it's just mind-blowing. That even, like, that right there should raise big red alarms. You know, that's just like, and people might say, oh, it's just a coincidence. Yeah, you know, I don't buy it's just a coincidence. You know, the chances of, you know, that those two big events happening right there, you know, just the odds are very, very low. So, I mean, yeah, it's something, you know, that's, again, I'm still before 9/11, you know, I will get into the actual events of 9/11, but it's very mind-blowing, it's very informative, and it's not a conspiracy theory, it's actually true. It's, you know, it's government, mainstream media even reports on it. So, I mean, this isn't like some far-fetched conspiracy theory. I mean, people have credible people have come forth and questioned 9/11, you know, and mainstream media even reports on the government, you know, not, you know, being, I don't know the word to use, but not, you know, the government is, they're blaming the government a little bit, but they're not going and saying it's an inside job. You know, they're like, oh, the government had all these warnings, you know, or the government, you know, said 2.3 trillion. They state the facts, but they don't follow up on those facts, you know. So that's what, like, you know, that's what I follow up on those facts and draw conclusions, critical thinking from those facts. And you just gotta take them all, pile them. It's like a puzzle almost. That just adds up. It's like a big math problem, I guess. You know, it equals inside job probably. You know, so yeah, that's an interesting point there. You know, Donald Rumsfeld saying, we don't know where 2.3 trillion is. I'll put the video. Look up the video. He says it. September 10th, the day before the attacks, and then of course September 11th, the attacks happened. The news is all over that. Rumsfeld announcing 2.3 trillion is lost. That is forgotten forever. And to this day, I mean, it's, you know, nobody really asks him about it. I saw We Are Change confronted him on it. But nobody, mainstream news is pretty much silent on it. Nobody brings it up. You gotta do your own independent research to find out information on it. You're not gonna learn it in school or, you know, anywhere on TV probably. You gotta do it online, find independent media sources, alternative media sources to find out this shit's legal, people. There's my video on Rumsfeld saying, oh, we don't know where 2.3 trillion is, so there you go, people.